Welcome back to Living with a Classic, and we have my daily driver here, 1975 XJ6, running great, but a couple of days ago I ran out of fuel on the right side tank. Luckily, 2 tanks and the other tank had fuel, but the gauge showed just under half a tank, or between quarter tank, half a tank, so I should not be running out of fuel. So something is up with the fuel sender. I believe it was working fine before. I hope it's just stuck or something. I recently replaced that tank and I put in a used sender that I tested out and it seemed to be good. And it seemed to be working fine on my long road trip. I did almost 1,000 miles. However, I never ran the tanks really empty. I only ran both to about half and then I filled up with fuel just to make sure I always had fuel. But let's have a look. I put Series 3 tank in on the right side, which means I'll have to remove the tail light to get to the sender. So we'll do that really quick. Have a look. That tank is completely empty, so it should be reading 0. It's not, but we'll unplug the pump on that side. We'll hit the switch because it's running on the left now, and we'll see what the gauge looks like, tear everything apart, and go from there. I've disconnected the right side pump, so let's switch to the right. Turn on the ignition. See how far that gauge moves up. You know that tank is empty. So you see it's reading between, it's really close to half a tank of fuel. That's why I was quite surprised when I ran out. But luckily I had the other tank, just run over to the side of the road, hit that switch to the left side, turn the ignition on again, cranked it over, and it fired into life. So let's get that fuel sender out. Let's see here. Let's get all these screws off the lens, and then underneath there are 3 more screws as well to hold sort of the chrome bit on, and then you get access to the back of the fuel tank. Like I said, on earlier cars, and if I had the earlier fuel tank in, you can use whichever tank you want. They all fit. The access is through the wheel well, but this is actually a lot smarter because you don't have to take the wheel off. So I do prefer these tanks, and it's just what I managed to get a hold of. It's a good used tank. I prefer to use the original style tanks when I can, because as long as you take care of them, they hold up really, really well. These old tanks. And let's see. Oh, there we go. These screws are a little worn out. I noticed that last time I took this off, about a month ago, when I installed that tank. And need to get some new ones. But lubricated them up and ran a tap through the threads to chase everything, and that made it get off a lot easier. I also need to look because I remember some friends on the trip that were driving behind me said I had one brake light out, so I don't remember which side it is, but we can check the lights when we have it all out. So you have connections here, but you can gently just hang it there, and right in there we have these senders. So I'm going to start by just disconnecting it. And these are extended cables. I just extended from the original location because of a different tank. Now I'll get a screwdriver or something to get those tabs out of the way, rotate everything, and then we'll take the sender out. Locking ring, and here we have the sender. These are always a little bit of pain to get out. Okay, there we go. And it's that way. So it needs to be no problem with the movement of it there. And I'm just trying to think if it's actually, if I might have messed up and because I just took a sender I had laying around. What if I grab one for the other side and it gets stuck a little bit? Let me have just a look around a couple spare tanks I have and try and figure out also by the parts number. Oh, see it there. I'm going to look that up, see if this is for a right-hand or left-hand tank, because that might be the mistake. I just have the wrong sender in there. And maybe it then gets caught on something. But if I do have that, maybe it's just a matter of moving the float or something. Let me do some investigating and we'll try and figure this out. I believe it may be for the wrong side. However, I think we can make it work. I'm just checking that it works. So right now it should read empty. Connect it back up. Let us turn the ignition back on and see if it reads empty, and then we'll see if it reads full or not. So, well, it's not really moving, so it should move just a tiny bit, but really not much. Yeah, so it should not go past, I think, the E line. Perfect. Now actually with the ignition on, I could just flip this over. And that should give us a full tank. Here I see the gauge moving. That's one issue I did have with it when on the drive. It never completely read full on this side, but I was okay with that. Just, I knew I had a full tank. And also I was using the trip as well, just to, because I kind of knew the fuel mileage of the car, and then I could figure that out. And I'm okay with this if this side doesn't read perfectly max. That's actually fine, as long as it reads empty. So we are pretty near to full. The other side does read full, but it drops very quickly from full till about here, and then it has a regular sweep. Okay, so I'm calling that good enough. You have to think it's used parts to have laying around. Keeping my daily driver on the road. That's a weird thing I do if you don't follow on channel. I like to, I take care of it, keep on the road, but it's just been a fun challenge to not overly restore it or anything. Looking inside the tank, it's flat on this side. There's a lot of empty space on that side, and there is a pipe that goes straight up and down. So my plan is, since we have nothing to lose, let me just connect this and I'll show you guys my idea. It sits in a tank like this, and I think it's hitting on that left side. So we're just going to bend everything a bit more to the right and see if that makes a difference. It has a slight curve to it now. So we'll install it, and if it reads empty, that's good. Then we'll go to the fuel station, fill up with some fuel, and see if it goes up. Now, should read 0, hopefully, or empty. And then hopefully it rises when we put some fuel in it. That should just go up a tiny bit. And that's exactly what it seems to be doing. I'm going to check. I think I have a bit of fuel at home. Can use that to put in to see the gauge moves up a little bit. And then later on go and fill up with fuel. Just put in probably about 7 liters of fuel. It might not be enough to register on the gauge, but it's what I had at home. Okay, so far we're higher than it was before. Yeah, it is actually registering higher. That's good. I think I'll have to take it to the fuel station and see if it goes up. It won't go to max like we saw, but if it goes a bit higher, then I'm happy, and then just make sure it doesn't get stuck on the way down. But I think we have a fix. It's time for the kids' school run, so I'm gonna go pick them up and look up some fuel. Then running on the left tank now, half a tank there, and yeah, we put those 7 liters or so in on the right side. And I'm not gonna fill the right side up full now because the gas station I'm going by doesn't have the high octane I want. So I'll just fill about half of it. We'll put in 20 liters or so, just to see that the gauge moves, and then I think we're good. As long as it moves up higher and then actually starts going down, then that's good. Then I know how much is in it, and I can just use it, see that it moves, because I sort of know how much the gauge should move, with how much I'm driving, and then of course I can dilute that with some higher octane. Not really an issue too much, but we'll do that in a little bit. I'll report back if the gauge starts moving or not when we have more fuel in the tank. With the fuel, we went a different route actually, so we put in some 98, put a full tank in. So let's fire it up and move out of the way of the car behind me. Actually an MGB, yeah, something like that. But let's see, we are slowly but surely going up to a full tank. Perfect. Alright, so we're almost back home, and seems like everything's fine. Fuel gauge moved down a little bit. They always move a lot faster in the top, I've noticed, but probably just because of the shape of the tank. But I think that was an easy fix. And come to think of it, I think it is the correct sender for that side, because on the other side, I don't think it would fit. But I could be wrong. I just think it needed a tiny little bend. Could have been that something, it was supposed to be bent like that, and then it was, you know, on my shelf for lots of years. But anyways, quick, easy fix. And if it's not fixed, I'll update you guys in a future video. But I think it's been fixed. Anyways, I'm going to continue enjoying this as my daily. Absolutely love this XJ6, and the kids do as well. I just noticed that my wife's behind me in the little MG, which, you know, the MGF, she's absolutely loving that as well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Next time I'm out, this was Live With a Classic. I'll see you soon.